I want to talk about something that happened during a committee at City Hall. It was a little over a year ago. One of our city councillors had an exchange with a Toronto voter, a Toronto taxpayer, who actually lives in that particular councillor's riding, so a constituent of the councillors. And it was over the renaming of Yonge and Dundas Square. Take a listen to the exchange between Councillor Chris Moise and one of his constituents.
So what are you doing this year in 25 relating to renaming things that hurt your feelings for whatever reason? What else is on your list to rename, and what are the costs associated with those renamings?
Mr. Tate, I know you and I have different opinions on many things.
I just asked you a question. What are you planning to rename in 25? And what is the cost of it?
View than I do. I know you have a white supremacy view. I don't support your views.
You're pulling out the Reese card, and he's asking about...
I know this guy. He's not a very...
Doesn't matter.
Did you just call me a white supremacist, Councillor Moise? That's an appalling thing to say to a constituent.
You have been
So a city councillor, in the course of doing his city business, this isn't an exchange that happened in a bar on a Friday night, called a constituent a white supremacist because he opposed, among other things, the renaming of Yonge Dundas Square. Daniel Tate is the constituent in Chris Moise riding. He subsequently filed a complaint with the city's integrity commissioner, accusing Chris Moise of violating the city's code of conduct. We now have that report. The integrity commissioner submitted it last week. It will go to city council to vote on, to decide if they intend to do any punishment. In the course of this report, it was recommended that there be no punishment, but it is still up to City Council to decide what to do with their colleague, Chris Moise. Joining me to talk about this exchange is Daniel Tate. You're maybe thinking, I know that name. He is, in fact, the Executive Director of Integrity TO, and so was at this particular exchange not just as a constituent, but also as the Executive Director of Integrity TO. Welcome back to the program, Daniel.
Hi, Deb. Thanks for having me back. And just to make a quick correction, Integrity TO did not yet exist when that interaction occurred.
Oh, really?
So I was just a regular citizen. That was it. I hadn't even started the organization.
Wow. Okay. Well, there you go. Constituent Daniel Tate at the time that all happened. So your reaction to the Integrity Commissioner's ruling?
Yeah, I said this before. It's bittersweet. I'm happy that they found him in violation of Article 14, which is discreditable conduct. But the video speaks for itself, so it was almost a foregone conclusion that that would have been the final report. But what really struck me as disappointing was the fact that no penalty was being recommended. I thought the violation here was so egregious that it should absolutely be accompanied by a penalty. Yet the integrity commissioner thought otherwise, and I found that to be quite surprising.
Yeah, and if I read the report correctly, there were two reasons for it. One is that it was a first violation, at least in terms of complaints that had come to the Integrity Commissioner. So going a little bit light, a little more of a slap on the wrist. And secondly, I'll give you my perspective on what I read here, Daniel, and you can respond to it. The suggestion that your actions were in fact provoking the city councillor and that this had been an ongoing exchange. Your thoughts on that particular rationale, if that's how you read it?
Yeah, I don't think that holds any water whatsoever. First off, these are elected politicians.
Do you not think that is what the Integrity Commissioner said? Doesn't mean it holds water, but...
Well, that's what the Integrity Commissioner said, and that's their interpretation. Fine. But what I was doing as a constituent, a citizen, was participating in democracy, which is attending a publicly available town hall, asking a budget question at a budget town hall. This is what we want citizens to do. We don't want to have a situation where citizens are fearful of participating in democracy because councillors are going to say things off the cuff, hurt their say hurtful things and damage their reputation, which is what Mr. Moise did here. And so, saying you're provoking your elected official by asking them a budget question is totally off the mark, because that's what we're supposed to do. We are in a democracy, last I checked.
Do you have any faith that council will impose a penalty?
Well, look, they've dropped the ball in so many things over the last 4 years that I don't have a lot of faith. But, I'm still generally an optimist, and I'm hoping that there will be a spirited debate about this and that some of the more common sense councillors will say, look, we have to overrule the integrity commissioner and send a message. And that should involve levying a penalty on the councillor for his behavior.
And usually that's no pay for X number of days or weeks or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it can range from no pay to, in the actual charter, you could even vote to have the person be recused from office. Now, of course, it's not going to go to that degree, but if we look back in history, there is precedent here. So Josh Matlow, a few years ago, was sanctioned for writing mean tweets about Parks and Rec staff, and the Integrity Commissioner found him in violation, and he was docked 10 days pay. And so I think if we look at that as our baseline, that could be an appropriate penalty for Mr. Moise here.
Chatting with Daniel Tate, he has pointed out at the time he wasn't the executive director of Integrity TO, which is a watchdog for the city. He is now, but was there as a constituent of Chris Moise when this awful exchange took place. Daniel, I'll say, by the way, we did reach out not only to Daniel to have this conversation, but as well to Councillor Moise, as is the case every time I've reached out to chat with him about a variety of things. They have declined. They did send us a statement. And I was actually quite shocked that my reading of the councillor's statement is that he actually has doubled down on the original accusation.
Yes.
He says, and I want to make sure I get this right, I will always stand up to white nationalism and white nationalistic politics. Again, calling you pretty much the same thing he called you the first time.
Yeah, this is reprehensible stuff. You have a councillor that has just no degree of humility or an ability to understand how he's hurt his own constituents. There's absolutely no reason for him to say that about me. My question about him at that budget town hall was simply, what are you planning to rename, and how much is it going to cost us, the taxpayer? He could have just easily answered the question. I'm gonna rename this. It's gonna cost that, or I'm not going to, or maybe no comment. But he opted to go to insults, and this is behavior and commentary that is unbecoming of somebody in elected office.
It is an election year. Any sense if there will be a contender for taking on Chris Moise?
Well, I think there's going to be many contenders. I've talked to people on the street, and everybody I talk to says, "Yeah, I'm thinking about running," and I don't blame them, because we've just had lackluster leadership for this Ward 13, over at City Hall. And again, I think this is just another one in a long litany of missteps that Councillor Chris Moise has been a part of. People are really starting to wake up to his behavioral patterns, and it's not fair to the citizens of this ward to have that type of leadership at City Hall.
I was really trying to get at any sense you might run.
Well, everybody's asking me. I haven't really thought that far ahead yet, but I mean, we'll see. I'm not
40 days until
we'll
you
see.
can sign up.
Oh, is that the day? Okay. Well,
It's coming up quickly. Daniel Tate,
talk to me then.
Executive Director of Integrity TO. Thanks so much for your time.
Thanks, Deb.